We're here at Wholanta 2019, and have we got a surprise for you?
Is that supposed to be Heathrow?
It is.
Well, they've certainly let the grass grow since I was last there.
We have a special treat today because I am sitting with Doctor Who royalty. I'm sitting with one of the longest serving companions, Janet Fielding, who played Tegan Jovanka in the 5th Doctor era of Doctor Who.
I know, a long time ago, when the Earth was green.
But you're still portraying Tegan.
Yeah.
Even today. So it's a present tense, not a past tense.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's because we do these Big Finish audios. I wasn't going to do them. In fact, I said no for years. And then I finally got persuaded by Gary Russell. And they turned out to be a lot of fun because I can give Peter Davison a lot of grief. A lot of grief. But it's victimizing Peter that has proved to be unbelievably enjoyable.
It
gets my revenge back. If you have a look and go back and look at our episodes, I cannot tell you how nasty to his companions my doctor was.
Why do you always have some incomprehensible answer?
And as you know, the TARDIS isn't always reliable.
Call yourself a Time Lord.
Okay, I can't let that sit on the floor, so you got to tell me what that means.
No, the number of times we go in when we're doing a script and we go, "You're really mean to Tegan. You're really mean."
I wanted to ask you about that because you're sitting there doing the Big Finish stories now. Yeah. I have just finished listening to Chameleon Empire, which is one of the latest ones that...
Oh, with John Culshaw.
Yes.
Yeah, the fabulous John Culshaw.
And I was reading an article at the same time that was an interview with Ralph Macchio, where he was talking about being back on Cobra Kai and all the years that someone had come to pitch him the idea of being Daniel again, and he turned them away, turned the pitch down. And then he said, this time it felt like it was right. So what was that moment for you? Because I know for a long time you said, I'm not doing Tegan, and now suddenly you are.
Okay, Gary Russell is a persistent devil. Normally I'd swear because I'm Australian, but I'm being polite because I'm on camera. Anyway, so Gary Russell said he was finishing doing Big Finish. Would I do his last story, please? So I said, yeah. And then he killed me off.
What?
At the end of the story, he killed me off.
Well,
he says he didn't. He must have changed that in the edit. That's all I can say. I seem to remember I was being killed off, that I had a terminal illness.
Now, are you enjoying this more than being on camera? Is it more challenging or less challenging to do?
Well, I'm ruder to Peter, so that's always fun. And then Sarah Sutton is in the middle between us. So we're always in these separate booths, recording. Peter's booth is the biggest mess you've ever seen because he finishes a page and he just tosses it over his shoulder.
So you do it ensemble. You're not recording everything separately. You're doing it all.
No.
Wow, that's awesome. So because you now have everybody to play off of. You're not having to yeah. So how long does one of those take?
You couldn't do that.
I know that some voiceover work is done where it's sort of like somebody comes in, says their lines, and somebody else.
Yeah, it depends what it is.
Right,
yeah, that's true. That's true. But we do it through sort of like a play. We don't always do it in story order because you can't. People's availability, especially Peter Davison. What a nuisance.
Now, what's it like knowing that you're still playing Tegan now, and you know sci-fi fans. Sci-fi fans take their pride in knowing the entire continuity.
Sure.
So you've been in the longest running sci-fi series, you are one of the longest serving companions, you're still portraying Tegan, so people are going to know long after we're all gone that Janet Fielding played Tegan Jovanka. It's kind of an immortality. I mean, what is that like in your head?
Well, all I know is that we have a laugh doing it, so we enjoy. I mean, it's lovely. So, because we've now been working together. Well, at the end of next year, it'll be 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So we really get on well, you know, and we're great mates. So like doing some of the Doctor Who extras recently for the DVDs or the Blu-ray extras, and I'll go over and stay with Sarah so that I'm nearby for whatever, and She's a feeder. Sarah's a feeder.
Uh-huh.
Because she's a good cook.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why I have these Blu-ray sets sitting next to you, because these are the latest Blu-ray sets from BBC. They're the restored classic Doctor Who, upsampled to 1080p.
For some of the truly talented people.
Now, they're doing these seasons somewhat scattershot, but 2 of the 3 that have already come out feature you in the special features. I mean, how does that work? I mean, these are not talking head documentaries. Like these seem to have a concept. So there's a location and the whole cast comes out. And how do they pitch that to you? How does that work?
Which ones are we talking about? Because there's some where when I'm not in the story at all, but we do the commentary.
The commentary on the couch.
Yeah, because we have a thing in England, I don't know if it's come here yet, a format called Gogglebox. Who'd have thought that Gogglebox would ever succeed as a format?
Right.
It's been hugely popular. And it's separate groups of people watching television.
Right.
So it might be a family, or it might be 2 friends, or, whatever. 2 gay guys sitting there watching.
Right.
And, and it's hugely popular. And so we're doing a version of that, and it's called Behind the Sofa.
Yeah, I noticed that some of the episodes that Mark Strickson and Sophie Aldred aren't in, they're on the couch watching and doing the commentary for those. But I was actually referring to not just those, but also the ones where they bring out the TARDIS, they put it up against a tree, and then you do this scenario. Is that improv, or do they say, here's...
It's improv.
It's improv? Okay.
Well, yeah, because it'd be a damn sight slicker if it was...
So when they...
It's rough and ready.
So what do? They take you, like, for example, on season 18, you and Sarah are just told, go up to the roof of the building, your costumes are up there, see what's in... Really?
Yeah.
And
you look shocked.
I'm just saying, you just roll with it, because it's not just a talking head interview like this is. It's like, so you just kind of go for it.
Yeah. I mean, the only one that was scripted was the one where I did the trailer, which was Jovanka Airlines.
Right. So that was the one where you're standing there and you're pretending to do the whole safety check, and Peter and Sarah are in the seat in front of you. Yeah. Now that was really cool. I was just wondering if they come...
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, cool was what it wasn't. England never gets hot.
Right.
40 degrees. Wait a minute. Now that in Fahrenheit, it was about 102 degrees. But we were in a metal building inside a metal plane.
So you were in a hot box, essentially.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then they had to turn off the air conditioning for us. They had these little air conditioning units which were fairly ineffectual. And they had to turn them off while we recorded because...
For the audio.
For the audio.
So you felt like Alec Guinness in Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, dear. It was terrible, but it was fun, and it beats digging the roads for a living.
I mean, you're in these Blu-ray documentaries, and they're coming to you, pitching you new ideas, and saying, just come out here. We're going to just film a scenario with you and everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Russell Minton, who produces these, would kill me if I let out of the bag anything that's planned.
Oh no, I wasn't even gonna go there. Yeah, I know.
Just in case you were.
I know you have to keep your secrets.
Have to keep the secrets.
Yeah, and I respect that.
It's like the Game of Thrones thing.
Right. You can't let anything out. Like Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, now has to be kept.
Oh really?
They have to handle him now because he lets leaks out too much. Yeah. You left acting in the early 90s, I believe.
Late 80s,
late
really.
80s.
Yeah.
Right. And you went to work for Women in Film and Television UK.
Yeah.
And then you also became an agent and represented a number of actors for a while. Yeah. Now, here's my question. So you're kind of an expert on representation between those two. You're an authority. You're an experienced person on representation.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah. How are we doing on the Janet Fielding scorecard in film and television now with representation?
Of women? Rubbish. What did you want me to say?
No, I wanted you to be honest.
Rubbish. It's rubbish. There's still less parts for women on screen. There's still much narrower field of representation. Yeah, it's rubbish.
What will it take, do you think, to get it? I mean, is there a log jam that needs to be, in the business and the industry itself? Is there? I don't want to say that there's like a silver bullet.
Have you seen Logan's Run?
Yes.
Okay, you know how they're all off at the age of 30?
Right.
Well, we could do that with men. Like, men could be allowed to live until they're 30.
Right.
And then you just off them. And, like, that would be good. I mean, that would mean, obviously, that, you know,
Right.
we would always end up with a younger partner.
Sure.
Once we got over 30, which is no bad thing because, you know.
Right. So we're flipping the dynamic, in other words, where right now it's actresses, female actors phase out after 30, 35, unless they're very lucky.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. But the men just keep going and going.
Yeah.
George Clooney.
And I think we could do that behind the camera as well as in front of the camera. And the whole thing would just improve enormously.
Right. As far as your performances, I've watched a lot of your interviews, commentaries, panels. Thankfully, a lot of them are on video. You are a hilariously self-effacing person when it comes to when it comes to you talking about you always.
Thanks.
You've mentioned in your commentaries and on the panel you did with Clayton Hickman back in 2011. You talked about. I know you throw it out there as a joke, but you always talk about how, oh, my acting is you know. And Elizabeth Sladen was kind of the same way. She was always saying I always felt like I was the weaker performer in the room, even though that's totally not true. Is it important as an actor to have that attitude when you go into a role? Like, is that an important trait to have? Being,
I don't know.
Okay.
What do I know?
Well, you were an actor for a long time, so I'm just curious.
No, probably it's rubbish.
Yeah? You think you should have like an ego instead?
Definitely.
Okay. So
like the men.
So you want to go the other way, like
yeah.
Tom Cruise or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of those guys.
It helps you.
Yeah.
How does that help you? Do you push through doors or something like that?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. The numerous versions of Doctor Who over the years have been coming out, and it doesn't look like it's ever going to stop. And we've got...
I hope not.
I know, we've got Jodie Whittaker in the role now.
Yeah.
But between Big Finish and these Blu-rays coming out, it seems like the TARDIS family...
Yeah,
you,
it's ever expanding.
Yeah, you, Turlough... Well, your family.
Yeah.
You, Turlough, Nyssa, and Adric.
Yeah.
People can't get enough of that grouping.
Well, that's because we're the best.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Natch. See, I took on board that thing you said about the ego. And look, and then look what happens.
Does it feel weird for you to take on the ego a little bit?
Oh, I'm so modest.
Now, I want to ask you, this is the final question before we go into the lightning round.
The lightning round?
Yes, we're going into a lightning round after this. This is real short, though. It'll be fun. Will Janet Fielding ever hang up her TARDIS key and no longer play Tegan Jovanka?
Well, I will if I'm 6 feet under.
Well, I mean, if you're not. Have you ever given...
Unless that box they can get me out of somehow, I don't know.
Have you ever given any thought to saying, at a certain point, I'm just going to, you know...
Yeah, I did in the 90s.
I know you did in the 90s, but now you're back with fervor.
Well, you know, you just go through a certain phase where I stopped acting and I was running women in film and television, and then I had an agency, and it would have kind of been really cheesy for me to be also competing with people I was representing.
Sure.
As an actor.
Sure.
Come on.
Right.
That's not on. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm enjoying it. If I stop enjoying it, I'll stop doing it.
That was a thought that I had, which was you go right back into this role with all of your old castmates. And how was there an adjustment period, or was it just like, you know, a bicycle? You just got right back on.
No, Peter and I started giving each other a hard time right from day one.
Right.
Being rude to each other, and that felt natural.
When I listen to the audio dramas, it seems,
and
I want you to correct me on this, but it seems that the companion role has improved and developed in the audio dramas versus...
Really? Are you taking drugs?
But I could be. That's why I need you to adjust my perspective.
There is still a lot of what Doctor, when Doctor,
yes,
who Doctor.
I did notice that, but it feels like the Chameleon Empire, for example, it feels like you and Turlough have your own subplots that are more developed.
Yeah.
No, not really?
Okay. Well, that's good. I'd like to think that's the strength of the performances.
I would say that's accurate.
Yeah. Of course.
What's the hardest part about doing the Big Finish audios from an acting perspective? Like, is there a specific kind of scene that trips you up, or you roll your eyes?
If you get a script where you've got a lot of vocal effects. So you've been running a lot or you're being sort of attacked a lot, then that's quite hard on the voice.
Right, because you're having to make all of those kind of running noises and trip-ups.
And all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And
You tell everybody else to look away while you're doing that because it's embarrassing.
no, it's just that it's hard on the throat.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how many takes do they generally do on something like that?
1 or 2.
Oh, okay, good. So they're not like...
It's quite fast.
Yeah, so they're not like Kubricking you or anything with
God, no.
do this line 30 times.
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How many times has someone yelled, "You finally made it," at you when you're going through Heathrow Airport?
Oh, he's always in trouble, Tegan. Or haven't you noticed it amuses him?
Well, it doesn't amuse me. He promised to get me back to Heathrow. He'll lose me my job.
No, he won't.
Never?
Never.
Oh, that's
Never.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's encouraging, but it's also kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Just for fun, I want you to tell me what you think is the best 80s Australian music group from this grouping.
Maybe In Excess.
In Excess?
Crowded House. And then there was Men at Work was a good song. We Come From a Land Down Under. I know.
So would you choose Men at Work?
For nostalgia places, for nostalgia, Men at Work.
Men at Work.
Yeah.
All right. You heard it here. Men at Work. All right. Have you ever had a physician admit to getting a kick out of you calling them doctor?
No.
Also disappointing. Wow, I would have thought.
Has anybody told you you're weird?
I am. That's why I run a YouTube channel on the side. All right. This is a picture of the action figures that have been released for all the classic companions. Can you tell me why there is not a Tegan action figure amongst them?
Because the person who does them doesn't like Tegan.
Is that true? Or is that just, is that true? Or is it?
I have no idea.
You've never been approached?
No.
We're going to have to call character options and find out what's going on. Now, I know you can't tell us what's next about the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
But is there anything next for your character? Is Tegan going to be reappearing in anything anytime soon?
Yeah, we recorded a couple of stories in March and a couple in January.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that. Certainly the ones in March haven't been released yet, and I believe we're about to do some more probably in July.
Okay.
And we're doing some more Blu-ray extras, and there may be a road trip with Sarah, Peter, and I.
Really?
There may be.
Nice. I look forward to that. Well, do you prefer Janet or Ms. Fielding?
Oh, Janet.
Janet.
Queen Janet is fine.
All right. Well, Your Majesty, Queen Janet, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Janet Fielding, everybody.